the Mo Salah, Firmino, Mane era. I don't know that there's a better front three of the modern era than the Liverpool front three.
You think that front three is better than the Tevez, Ronaldo? I'd say I doubt.
I think so.
Honestly,
when you think about the front three of the Premier League, if you want to make a team, I'm going to start with Rufai, IPK, and I come to Ini. What would be your front three Premier League all time?
You just said by yourself that Hazard goes on the left. The numbers didn't matter to you. Now Salah goes on the right. On the basis
the
of
numbers
the
has to matter. Which
No.
Hey,
Let me finish.
In Alpha.
Let me finish.
Steve,
Nini, allow me, please. Allow me. I beg.
they hold on. It's not biased, right? It's not biased because you are talking numbers. I'm not just talking numbers. I'm talking.
What is this now? Let's remove that eye test. Now it is now numbers. And I'll tell you why you will know. I'll tell you, Ini, you are not going to continue. Ini, you are not going to continue doing this thing. You are not going to continue doing this thing. Keep quiet, please. Keep quiet.
I cannot also, in good conscience, put Mo Salah ahead of Ronaldo. You know why?
If because we're borrowing it's fake. No.
Give me 5 million.
You understand?
The guys are like characters in a film. It's like a weekly TV show. I think the camaraderie between the guys, myself, Ini, IBK, Wale, of course, as well as Rufai, creates an interesting dynamic that I think the viewers certainly relate to.
THP over the years has been a necessity, still is a necessity, at a time where everything feels fast and regurgitated.
Our cultural space was craving realness, heritage, and intention, and that is why I'm able to be myself on the podcast.
Oh yeah, now predict that now.
I've seen games like this.
We've been able to move with clarity to deliver something with restraint, depth, and timeless wit. And in many ways, we've been able to reset the standard to show what is possible from an African, cultural, and storytelling perspective.
In the first half,
I don't know the game that you watched, but in that first half, the team that looked like they were going to score the most was us.
For us, it's not punditry, it's artistry. There's a self-awareness to what we're doing. For us, we're driving our cultural nuances in every single conversation, and I think that's what we keep trying to do. THP at Season 6 is a proof that when your product is sharp and your values are intact and your timing is intentional, you have a chance of building something that is authentic.
We're playing a different game, not one based on virality or chasing the algorithm, but one built on value.
We're not looking to scale at all costs. We're building substance, and we want that to scale over time.
After 6 solid years with the guys, I realized that we are not just a sports show that's entertaining, but an entertainment show that truly knows sport. I'm sure you know that already.
He just needs more oil. I will collect on 70,000. I said, this guy, he will never make it. But all of this means nothing if no one is ready to receive it. And that's where you, the viewers, come in.
Thank you for allowing us to play our position and allowing our work to speak for itself.
So every now and then I go somewhere to different places and someone recognizes you. And that totally humbles me because of the fantastic community we've been able to build.
All of this is not enough without you guys.
Thank you and welcome.
Welcome to Season 6.
Hello, everybody. Welcome along to THP Plus. It is a pleasure to have all three of the finest gentlemen in the house. Remember, Monday is here. And pretty much the way it is on my screen, remember, Monday is at the bottom, IBK is in the middle, and Rufai is at the top of it. I don't know how it is on you guys' end, but gentlemen, a pleasure to see you all. Wale is in the background, making some money. Hopefully you share money for all of us. But IBK, let's start with you because you've been enjoying the largesse of a new club, new appointment, corner office, official car, allowance for maid servants, wardrobe allowance, door handle.
Now, staff job I collect. I beg you, no cover me. Me no can rob me.
Right.
Don't worry.
My area. It's my area. Now
Don't
only me.
worry, they don't go
I
come
beg.
rob you. Don't worry, they don't go come
Speaking
rob
of,
you.
speaking of which, I wanted to ask, right? How's the light? I mean, I know you have light because you live in Surulere, right? So you're good, right? Your light has been good. I know Surulere people are chilling, right? So you are in the 1% of the 1% of the country, but
right
I
now.
know if I also have a bit of light as well. So I think that leaves both of us without a good power supply. But this lighting is crazy, man. How's it been on your end, really?
Yeah, it's good. Good to be honest. I think it's been good. Was it last week? I think it was last week. It was a bit frustrating, but they were giving us light. I think about maybe 6 7 hours a day, as opposed to what is normally obtainable, which is about maybe 16 17 hours a day. So, but this week has been better. In fact, this week has gone back to normal. This week has gone back to normal. So you now have like and I speak with. I think we've had light for the last. When last did I put on my gen? I think we've had lights for the last maybe 40 hours or so.
Wow. Well,
My own my own gen
level
don't
past
knock.
level though.
My own gen don't work. He don't do NEPA work. He don't knock.
Generally, they never walk.
Yeah.
I swear.
Man, it's crazy. But why your life is good, yeah?
Yeah. So I was just telling IBK before you guys came on. As about joining, they took the lights, and I've had before now that they took the light, I've had lights is for like I don't know, maybe like 20 hours from like 20 hours. So the way they do it now, typically I'm supposed to have light for like 20 something hours per day. But since this issue started, so they will take it for like maybe sometimes for 5 hours, sometimes 6, sometimes 7. And then you have like what I like now that they've been doing the last 1 week is that so the block of when they will take it, because now because of the issue is load shedding they are doing now, but the block of when they will take it, they've shifted that block to the afternoon. So there's always light at night. So if they need to take it, they
Yeah.
take it the afternoon for like
Which
a
which
few
which
hours.
is the best in my opinion? Like if you're gonna give
Exactly.
us light, give me light at night. I
Give
don't
me light
really
for
need
night.
light in the afternoon. Like,
I beg.
Exactly.
just give me light.
I
Exactly.
beg.
This
Don't
page in my
give me
life,
God
man,
give
is
me
like
more.
you're
Give
playing
me
That's
God
what
with
they've
hell.
been
more.
doing now. Live.
Yeah. Great, gentlemen. Great. I don't know if you guys have seen. I've been obviously when you're not actively physically recording. I've been looking at this AJ thing, and I think it's AJ and Usyk bromance, and I think it's one of the most special things I've seen in sports in my entire time watching sports. Like the level people don't realize how big what Usyk is doing for AJ. It is so special. It is so special. To see fighters rise above, you rise above the competitive, and it's not. People always think that athletes are friends. Athletes are not friends, right?
Mm.
So at the time people saw Ronaldo and Messi, all that stuff. They said maybe they are friends. They're not. They don't necessarily need to be friends because they have different lives, that kind of stuff, like that. They have big entourages. So to see Usyk and AJ break that that professional barrier and really be there for each other in this sense, Usyk being more there for AJ. I don't know if you guys I found it very special to see. Every single clip I watched with a glee on my face, just thinking, this is God sent, man. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah. I saw
I haven't seen
saw
it.
their videos.
Okay,
Saw their videos.
I haven't seen it, but I saw a headline. I saw a news story. I don't know why I didn't bother opening it on the Sun, but in individual sports, when in individual sports, it's very hard to be friends, because there's a real competition between athletes like that. But I see that maybe in boxing, because it involves punching people, and because it involves punching people, maybe in boxing. But because I see in tennis, in tennis, it feels like there's a lot more camaraderie with the tennis players. They are very
Yeah.
good with it. The energy is really good. But it's always fantastic to see sports people who are, competing against each other at a very high level, show that, that concentration, show that level of, camaraderie, if you like. It's always beautiful to see. It's always fantastic. I've always thought that Usyk is, Usyk is a, very fierce competitor, but, to just see him show this side.
Got a big heart. He has a big heart, guys. You can see it. Yeah. And I think also, coming from a guy who comes from a region that is troubled, right? I think it takes one person who's hurt in that sense to know another and know how to show compassion. And I think that's really special. Rufai, you want to say?
Yeah, I saw the clips. I saw the video. Just to respond to Neil Bong, I think the way I think about it is that the reason you see there's a little bit more camaraderie between the tennis players is that for boxing, if you're going to get on the ring and punch each other, it's easier if you hate each other. So if I'm a boxer and I'm going to get into the ring with someone, it's easier for me to fight them if I don't like them. Because when you get onto the ring at that level, heavyweight boxing is your life on the line. There's no, you can't hesitate. You hesitate, you're gone, and it could be fatal. So, so that's why what Usyk and Joshua are doing is even more special, because that's the sport that I think, and that's why even for when you see that there's a boxing fight coming up,
you almost need that. Sorry, you almost need that bit of hate to be able to get that competitive edge. Almost.
Exactly. That's why even when they don't genuinely hate each other, they try to drum up that animosity, because it makes it easier to fight. It makes it more interesting for the viewers. It makes it more, because if you watch a fight on the streets, the reason you like it is that you're wondering what did this guy do? It all adds to the fun of watching two people fight. So that's why it's even special what they are both doing. It just shows level of professionalism, particularly Usyk, because I don't think he needs to do it. He's the absolute best at the moment. He's beating Joshua, he's beating Fury. So it's very special what he's doing. Even though I feel like Joshua showing up and being around him as well, because in terms of branding, Joshua possibly is the bigger guy, so it rubs off each other in that regard. But on a human, mental, psychological level, Joshua definitely needs that a lot more than Usyk does now. So it's really, really great to see what they're both doing.
Right. I wanted to start there on the pod today. And thanks for all the guys who we didn't film on Thursday last week. A lot of guys were under the weather. I personally was under the weather. So I personally apologize for. I mean, I couldn't make it. So I think the thing about the team we have is the energies are almost like interconnected. So if one person pulls out, it's not quite the same show and things like that. So we apologize for not filming on Friday, which was an interesting week. So yeah, but this is here to stay. We're always going to be here for the online episodes, right? So like the videos, share the videos, and yeah. Shout out to William, man. William is our biggest fan. There's nothing anybody can tell me.
No doubt.
Shout out to William.
No doubt.
Right. Yeah. No doubts about that. But yeah, I mean, you too, please, like the video, share the videos, and let's break the ceiling. There's currently a ceiling above us. We need to we need to either break the ceiling, or we need to unhinge and like I don't know, this is the line you had in the song. He said when the doors close, I unhinge and I open ceilings. He says he doesn't know how things fall in place, but he's sure they'll come around like telekinesis. So there's that. But let's start today with a conversation that I've been monitoring for a minute, and it's about Liam Rosenior and Chelsea. And I'm just gonna read a quote that I saw from a player, Kevin Kilbane. He played with Liam Rosenior at Hull City, and he says, "I played with Liam at Hull City, and I got on with Liam well. You see the way he is now. To me, he's unrecognizable to the player I knew. It's like he swallowed a psychological manual or a sporting mentor's memoir. To me, everything he says is waffle, drivel, nothing, right? And
Is
I want to,
is that the Kevin Kilban comment?
yeah, that's the
Okay.
Kevin Kilban quote, right? And I saw another quote from a journalist. Um, I don't know if I saved that as well, but you know, for me, it almost feels like there is. I think I'm okay. I have the quotes now. It says, this is a quote from a guy from Jonathan Wilson, right? He's a football writer on Independence, and he says he says it all seems like one big act, right? Um, and I saw Ian Wright in the comments, and Ian Wright said maybe you're so basically the guy said maybe he's getting old, but he just sees this Liam Rosie nothing as an act. Maybe he's an old school guy. And Ian Wright said maybe you're actually getting old, John. This is a new era of football managers. Give him a chance to be himself at a very big club. It's not a young exec, it's just a young manager. And I find that there is this the results are not great, and tactics we can talk about that later. But I find that there's almost a deliberate narrative, and it's becoming like an agenda to make it seem like the guy is not being authentic, right? And I feel like that is so sinister. You know, it is so sinister, the motive that you can look at somebody and you say that for whatever reason, I don't know where they're getting that from, but they say that, oh, I think you're faking it. I don't think I think you're like an imposter, right?
Yeah.
The reality of the conversation now is that football managers are getting jobs, right? That in the past they would not smell because they don't have the body of work to prove and they deserve to be in that role. So you go back to Jose Mourinho getting the Chelsea job back in the day. Jose had to work his literal behind off to get that job, to get to that level where, and when it came, there was still also this thing where they were like, you talk a bit like your special, your one guy, just as like, I'm not the guy from the bottle. I am actually European champion. So it almost feels like 22 years on, it's almost full circle again where there is a sinister motive to say, you know what, I think you're acting. I don't think you're big enough for this job. The difference is that these new guys, your Amorims, your Liam Rosinos, don't have the body of work that other managers still have to be at the
Yeah.
club like United or Chelsea
Got the job.
or Man City. But let's just focus on the Rosino thing. Why do you think that is the case where people feel like, people feel the urge to say that this guy is acting, he's not being his authentic self?
Okay, so and you laid a very fantastic context to the conversation, and I personally feel like uh it is moving into that era where I think that if the press doesn't quite resonate with you or quite like the way you carry yourself or the things you say, they just automatically just start moving an agenda against you, and that's what I see with the guy. He doesn't talk like like the typical British manager will talk. He doesn't sound like the typical British manager who's very conservative, who's very very clear with their ideas and whatnot. I personally feel like everyone who's criticizing the guy, and obviously you're going to be judged by what you do on the page, the results on the page, but I'm saying that in the last few games, the results have been very, very abysmal. But I'm saying that the whole criticism of the guy thing hasn't just stemmed from the results being bad in the past few weeks. It's been going on even when the guy was winning games. So it feels like they don't quite like his persona. They don't quite like how he carries himself, the things he says, how philosophical he gets. I saw that Kevin Kilban post a comment, and I'm like, it's a very sensitive thing to say. To expect that a player would be having a manager would be having the same head he had as a player is very insensitive, in my opinion, because I feel like
I tell you what I think. I think, and you can say this is very African, right? And you probably will be right. But I feel like, it is, I feel like a lot of it stems out of a bit of jealousy. That's what I genuinely think. I genuinely think that,
It has to be. It has to be. For a
you
former
worked with
teammate
this
to
guy
talk,
before, right?
talk that
You
like
guys were
that.
buddies.
Yeah.
You saw him come up. Basically, he's not a foreigner, right? He's not like your Robert Amorim where you don't know him. You see him coming from Portugal. He's won some stuff. So you're almost forced to accord him a little bit of respect because,
Yeah.
he can be fiery as well. But with Liam, it almost feels like, first of all, he's a black man, right? Secondly, you guys work with him as a player. You are at Hull City. You're not really top players per se. You know his father, you know his sisters, and all these things. And suddenly he's Chelsea manager and he's sitting in front of you and you are sitting on this other side, right? Taking questions. He's taking questions from you. And you almost feel like, I don't think you deserve to be there, right?
Yeah,
So it feels like the bit of...
the funny thing. The funny thing is that when Rosenior was playing, I still remember back in the day when he was playing for Fulham. I saw him first at Fulham before he went to Hull. I think it was Fulham to Hull. I saw him at first at Fulham, and he was one of those players that wasn't really the most popular player in the squad. Wasn't your headline maker, the guy who would be in the news every time. He was one of those quiet, he gets his head down and does his job and was in the team. So it's just funny, when you move it to that angle of a bit of jealousy, I don't think you can rule it out because I'm looking at Kevin Kilburn, and I know Kevin Kilburn back in the day, Irish player, wasn't the biggest player in the squad. How Rosenior has gotten to this stage, he's gotten to as a Chelsea manager, is, you could call it a stroke of good fortune, but the man has put in the work. He's put in the work. He's gone abroad, which is what a lot of English managers are scared to do. Go abroad and trying to build yourself and get a job. He's done that. He's gone to France. It's a big league. He's gone to France and he's pulled his weight there. That's why he's come to the Premier League. So I don't get when you want to give a manager a stake, I get it when results are bad. But I'm saying that this whole agenda against the gentleman is not because the results are bad. It's built up from when Chelsea were winning, scoring goals. It's built up from there. That's why I don't get it. That's why I tend to agree that there's a bit of jealousy, and he's a black man. He's a black man. So you would get that bit of, that undertone, in my opinion, that undertone of, he's a black man. How has he got this kind of job? And you have to go back and look at, the brand of British players, white British players in Gerrard, having all, in the conversation for this kind of jobs, and Rooney, some of these, famous British footballers. Why are they not in the conversation for this kind of job? How is Rosenior from nowhere getting this kind of job? So there's that feeling in when they want to make their judgment about what he's done so far. And I just feel like it's very biased. It's very uncanny, in my opinion.
So for me, I think it's all about the age as well, and probably people will say it's an African thing, like Yubi said. When you find yourself in a big position at a very young age, to be honest, it comes with a lot of jealousy. People want to think, oh, you don't deserve, to be there. There are people who are better. There are people who are older, who are more experienced. And from the first day the guy came in, I already said it that I think it was a plan from the Chelsea board, because this was someone who, even before what was his name? What was this Chelsea before this guy came in? What was this guy's name? This Chelsea coach will come out before he
Maresca.
left the job. Maresca, yeah, before Maresca left the job, it was as if Rosenior was already being planned or being packaged as a Chelsea manager, because in the end, it was so fast, and what he was doing in France as well, it wasn't as if, he was struggling with it. Bro, Strasbourg were actually very good. You could see the tactical, impact the guy has made at the club. So in the end, I think that if a manager comes in as a very young man who doesn't have much experience to coach a club like Chelsea, I expect jealousy, I expect backlash, especially when the results are not even going well. So for me, I think that if the board already have confidence in him, I think it should just filter whatever noise we are hearing, because I don't think he's going to get sacked. He has 6 years contract, so you can't expect Chelsea to pay the whole money. So I think he will probably just manage the whole situation, and probably next season bring in who he feels will work in his own pattern. But for me, so far so good. I think whatever comes with you being young in a particular job, expect jealousy, expect people to come at you easily. It's normal.
Yeah. I'll give a final thought on this thing. I feel like that's why no matter what happens, right, we've got to go out fighting. And because of this situation developing, I understand Ruben Amorim a bit more. I understand him a bit more, right? Because he was very clear he was not going to cower to anybody, right? And I feel like he has to come out swinging. That's the only way. If anybody in his camp, like, suggests that he has to pander to these people, because the first person I had say was Carragher. This was about 3 months ago. But it seems like it's a bit of an act. And I think people have jumped on that and they've taken it and ran with it. And that's why even until the very last end with Amorim, you see he has fire in his eyes. Like when he talks to the media, if you ask him a question that is not, he feels out of tone, or if they brief him that you're one of the journalists, you see the way he would be very, very like that Iberian thing. He will be fiery with you, because come what may, if you eventually get fired, right, due to the narrative, whatever it is, you know that you didn't you didn't try to please them and eventually still lose. You would go right now. The only thing you could beat Amorim with in terms of, this, you felt like United, is that they didn't give me the players that will fit my system. Not because he didn't have the personality for the job. Or personality, he takes it completely. So I think that, you've got to stay true to yourself. And, I'm not a Chelsea fan by any stretch, but I don't like to see people being shoehorned or being, told to look down. You don't need to look up, your shoulder is too high, that kind of thing. No, you have to let the guy be himself, right? He's a black manager, he's a young guy, he's coming, he's obviously from a different, school entirely. He's not an old school guy. Allow him be himself. Allow him quote the quotes that he thinks inspires him, right? If I got into a job today, I'll be quoting Nas. I'll be quoting, your Dave Chappelle's, and you might think it sounds fake, but those are things that inspire me.
And that is because and that is down to your experiences, your exposure, the things that are very peculiar to you. To expect that a manager, because you're a football manager, you have to look like this, you have to talk like this. That's why Jose Mourinho, when he burst into the scene in football, was a very unliked guy. He was, because Jose Mourinho came in with, you're not going to try that with me. He came in with that bullish attitude that, which has never been seen before. Like, the guy comes in and says, I'm the best at this thing. I'm one of the best at this thing. And you start looking at him like, how can you be talking like that? So I just feel like there's that bias about the fact that he's British. British managers, I can almost walk into a press conference and know what a British manager would say, if you pose certain questions to him, because it's almost like an unwritten, memo that they share to all of them. They sound the same way, they talk in the same pattern. Obviously, they have their own, idealistic way of approaching football matches and all. But in terms of how they approach press conferences, the British managers just sound the same way. A Premier League manager, a Championship manager, a League One manager. This guy's coming as a British young manager at a very massive club, and that doesn't sound like, that very conservative. Doesn't sound like he's going to back down. He's going to. So just allow the guy to be. You're going to judge him by results, and please stick to judging him by results. Forget press conference. Forget press conferences. Forget any other thing that is not football related. Just stick to judging. I saw that Kevin Kilburn put that out. It was such and for a former teammate, it is such an insensitive thing to say. As a former, he said you do not recognize him from the player he used to be. like a player he was 15 years ago. You expect a player who has turned into a manager to still be a player. Come on. That's why the man doesn't have a job. Because you're still thinking like a player. You're still thinking like a player. You can't get a job because you cannot be thinking like a player. You know, when you become a manager, you understand the job of the manager. Players don't think like managers. You know, managers differently from players. You know, the way if you're a manager and you're thinking like a player, you're gonna lose a lot of matches. You know, you have to think of results. You have to think of not how somebody will be happy. You know, managers are not there to make you happy. They're not there to make you. They're not your friend. You know, they're there to result. You know, so whatever way, method, style they want to use to achieve their objective, they're gonna do it. So that mindset of saying the player that he's not the player you used to know was just absolute BS in my opinion.
Yeah. Right. So let's draw the line under that. I think Rufai's network is giving a bit of grief, but I want to talk about you know, Mo Salah. Right. There's this comedian on Instagram.
Do it. I like that. Do it again.
Let's talk about Mo Salah. Right. That guy cracks me up all the time.
You know that guy on Instagram.
Yes, sir. That guy, yes, now. The guy like, that's how the guy is like. He's doing the Jerry Carragher thing. Let's talk about Mo Salah, right? And you know, I knew this day was gonna come, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was gonna come at the end of last season when he didn't sign the contract. But it's eventually come, right? And you know, obviously, all good things must come to an end at some point in time, right? It just must, and you have to, at that point when it happens, you have to stop and say, you know what have we witnessed here? If you've been blessed to, you know, to witness it, and I've seen conversations around: is he the greatest Premier League player of all time? I've seen things like, you know, is he the greatest Liverpool player of all time? I've seen him mentioned in those brackets. And for me, that is just enough. Whether we come to debate it or not, to even be mentioned in those realms of, you know, is he the biggest import ever? Is he the best this of all time? I think that summations are not important, conclusions are not important. What is important is that he has risen to the heights where he is now amongst the gods, right? With the small g, right? But what I'm more interested in is if you look at Mo Salah as an individual player, the numbers back him up, right? Against anybody in the league, right? Your Henrys, your Rooneys, your Shearers, anybody in the league, right? But I think to look at him in isolation, for me, does him a bit of disservice, right? Because I want to look at him from and you guys might have a different perspective, from a generation of what the Liverpool team did. You see, we talk about the famous front threes in the world. And in my time, I've seen some great front threes across European football. Obviously, as a United fan, I've seen the Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo, you know, triumvirate. It was incredible. If you didn't see it, sorry, but it was incredible. They ran like dogs. They attacked with pace, aggression, precision. I saw the Barcelona front three, right? But I saw two. There was one with Pedro, Messi, and I think there was David Villa, right? I saw one that had Henry, Eto, or someone like that. They don't take our own like to, so we don't join now. But that Liverpool front three, when I think about it, I think in the modern era, and I want to say the modern era very deliberately, they reminded us of what a front three used to be like. Because don't forget, after the Messi Ronaldo blitz of European football became a very, very individualistic game where it was Messi, Ronaldo. Everybody go do your own thing. Make everybody get out. Do you understand? But I think the Mo Salah, Firmino, Mane era reminded football players that everybody could shine and be like at the top level, right? Get their goals, get their numbers, win awards, win Champions League by being, by being a pair or a trio. I don't know if you have a different idea, but I think Salah has to be one of the best. If I look at him in that regard, I don't know that there's a better front three of the modern era than the Liverpool front three.
In the Premier League?
In the Premier League, yeah.
Because I was going to say...
But even as a United fan, I think that front three, right, what it did over a longer period of time is, in my opinion, better than what the Tevez Ronaldo front three did.
That was about to ask.
And Rooney did.
You think that front three is better than the Tevez Ronaldo? I would say I doubt.
I think so.
Honestly, I think the number of goals.
Better. I don't think they're better. I think what it did over the impact it had over a longer period. I think that is the poster boy. I think that's the poster front three of the Premier League. Yeah.
Yeah. If you say over, because I was gonna say that maybe the number of goals. I was gonna say maybe the number of goals they scored, possibly the Salah, Firmino. I think they scored lots of goals. But in terms of but then again, the Tevez Ronaldo, they won Champions League, they won Premier League. So it's really, but if you say over a longer period of time, possibly. And I also think that the Tevez, Rooney, and Ronaldo, because if you look at the Liverpool front three, even though it was a trial, but I still feel like it was set up to feed one person. Salah is the main man. He's going to score lots of goals. And I think someone like Sadio Mane suffered for it, just a little bit. But the Tevez Ronaldo, Rooney, even though Ronaldo was everybody knew that Ronaldo was, he's going this way. But at the time, it wasn't a clear, Ronaldo is the main guy. These three guys were cooking. Almost at the same level. Tevez on his own, without combining with anybody, he'll destroy you on your own day. The same with Rooney. So it wasn't like one person. It was three people that were proper terrorists every single time. So for me, that's a distinction. But I see where you're coming from in terms of doing it for a longer period in the Premier League. So the sort of...
Yeah. I sort of lean towards IBK a little bit.
Yeah, it's just to add my 2 cents. Rufai made a point about the quality of Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez. I think that the strength of that front three was on the individual quality. It was solely on the quality of the individual players, like how good Ronaldo was, how good Rooney was, and how good Tevez was, and they're unplayable footballers. But the Salah, Mane, Firmino thing wasn't just based on individual quality. It was about understanding each other. It was about understanding how to play as a team. The team was more deadly, in my opinion. That front three was more deadly than what a Rooney and Ronaldo would do for you, because on the day the individuals don't really show up, on the day the individuals are shut down, it's harder. But that Salah, Mane, and Firmino thing was, they understood that Firmino was the guy who was not going to get all the numbers in the world. Mane was the pressing machine and Salah was the finisher. Everyone understood exactly their job in the team. Nobody was trying to get numbers better than everybody. They almost seeded that Salah was the guy who was going to get the best numbers because he was the better finisher of the three of them. Firmino was not always going to be at the foot of the goal scoring chain because he wasn't the best finisher, and he sacrificed himself a lot for the good of the team. So I think that as a team, when you talk about team effort, I just feel like that Mane front three was more devastating. The energy they played with was just too. When you think about team getting 97 points and not winning a league, the impact they had. Getting 97 points and not winning, 92 points and not winning the league. Like, and I'm sorry to say, if you got 92 points in the Rooney era, you win the league easily. You win the league easily. Like the competitive nature of what they were playing against, because you have to put it in context. As good as Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez was, you're not playing against this Man City team. That Man City team, English, in my opinion. So I just feel like that front three is to be, in the modern era, has to be one of the best, or if not the best.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I think Rufai made the distinctive points. As far as in the individual qualities and things like that. But I mean, when you think about, I've seen the conversations as well as we try to wrap it up around, the front three of the Premier League. If you want to make a team, I'm going to start with Rufai, IBK, and I come to Ini. In a heartbeat, don't think about it too much, right? Would it sit well with you, right? What would be your front three Premier League all time? Obviously, one spot is taken already because that's Alan Shearer. So you'll have with two positions effectively. What's your pick?
Bro, is an impossible pick, man. It's an impossible pick.
That's why they say don't think about it too much.
Don't think about it. When you don't think about it, that's to.
But you don't say Alan Shearer don't pick one spot. So he's already.
No, you'll get my command and Shearer for it.
So I think I'm gonna go. I was not gonna put Alan Shearer, but I get it. He's the record goal scorer. There's no way you don't put him. So I'm gonna go Alan Shearer through the middle, Ronaldo on the right.
Okay, you know what? Go with Alan Shearer. Go with Alan Shearer.
Henry on the left.
Do your thing.
No, Alan Shearer has to be there. He's the record goal scorer. Now attack line. Alan Shearer through the middle, Ronaldo on the right, Henry on the left.
So you leave Salah out.
Gladly.
Okay, so without thinking about it too much, Thierry Henry up top, and in my opinion, the best left-sided player in the history of the Premier League, in my opinion, is Eden Hazard. I'm not like I would have put Henry there, but Henry would play up. I play Henry up top. Eden Hazard. It's not an opponent, a player that didn't play for Arsenal, that played in the Premier League, that I wanted to watch like Eden Hazard. I just thought that he made football. When you hear the stories about how hard he doesn't work or he doesn't train hard, what that bros did on the football pitch was just unbelievable. I don't think there will be a left-sided player who entertained and played purposeful football and Eden Hazard. There will not be another. I just think that is my opinion, without thinking about it too much, just simply the best in that position. And then on the right-hand side, it will be an absolute travesty not to put Salah. Absolute travesty. If you've got to look at the numbers, because people always talk about Ronaldo. Ronaldo has gone on to be a great global icon. But on the strength of the numbers in the Premier League, he didn't stay in the league long enough. He didn't stay in the league long enough for you to put him in some of this conversation. He did it for 1 season, and there's no chance that if he stayed in the league longer, he would have done it. He clearly would do it if he stayed in the league longer. He clearly would have done it, but he did not. And you cannot judge a player who did not spend that did not have that longevity in the league, and put him above players who stayed in the league longer and have better numbers than him. You cannot do that. Salah on the right-hand side has to be the GOAT, in that position.
All right. Ini, let me ask you a question. How long did Ronaldo do in the Premier League?
Huh?
How long did Ronaldo do in the Premier League?
Ronaldo did, I think 6 years, 6 seasons. He came in the 2003 season and left in 2009, right?
He left in 2009. How long did Hazard do in Premier League?
Hazard came in
Haaland,
came
no
in
worry. Hazard did
2012.
7 years. Hazard did 7 years. 7 seasons,
7
6
years.
seasons thereabout. Now, I just want to present both of you's, what's the word? Counter
Logic.
argument. You're making an argument here and you're countering it by yourself.
Sorry,
inside your same.
Rufai, before you continue, when Ronaldo came to the Premier League, he came to the Premier League as an 18-year-old. Remember that.
Allow me
And
now.
the first maybe 3 seasons Ronaldo had in the Premier League, his numbers were not that great. He didn't
Allow me?
he didn't have that immediate, volume impact like he had at the the closing stages of his Premier League career. Hazard was a hit. Hazard was a hit from day one. Remember, he was a hit from day one. So continue. I just wanted to give you that context.
I'm a Chelsea fan. Hazard was a hit from day one. You don't need to tell me what I know. Thank you. Rest, sir. See, you just said by yourself that Hazard goes on the left. The numbers didn't matter to you. Now, Salah goes on the right on the basis of the number. On the basis of
numbers
the number.
has to matter.
But on the left,
no.
No. Let me finish.
Alpha.
Let me finish.
No.
Nini, allow me, please. Allow me. I beg you. Please.
I hold your neck.
So, on the left, the numbers no matter. So, your logic and see, people don't. I don't know. Everybody has biases. Everybody is fine. What almost never sits well with me. I can see that this thing that you are going with is more bias than logic. Or you argue down that it is more logic than bias.
It's not bias, right? It's not bias because you are talking numbers. I'm not just talking numbers. I'm talking.
What is this now? What is this?
I'm talking impact too. I'm talking impact. Impact of not just the numbers. Obviously the numbers culminate into impact, but the impact. Ronaldo didn't stay long enough in the league. I would say it again and again. He didn't stay long enough in the league to have that kind of impact. You cannot put him ahead. You cannot put him ahead of someone who stayed longer, had more impact, scored more goals, had more assists. You can't put him above Ronaldo, in my opinion. And I've said it again and again. If he stayed in the Premier League, I don't think there will be a conversation about who the greatest Premier League player was, whoever. I don't think there will be a conversation because obviously the way he was going to do the incredible. He was going to all these numbers that you think of. He was definitely going. He was heading there, but he did not. Now, if I want to judge Ronaldo, I cannot judge Ronaldo for the player he became ultimately outside of Spain. Over a player we've seen in the league consistently, season in, season out, week in, week out, churning out unbelievable numbers and performances. So I understand bias, but Salah goes on my right. Eden Hazard, the greatest left-sided player in the Premier League, goes on the left, and Igwe goes up top. Live with it, sir.
Right. So I just pulled out Ronaldo's numbers from the 6 seasons he spent at United, right? The first stint.
From
so you're right.
Which season?
From the 6 seasons, right? The first stint, which is pretty much the first time he came, right? The first season he had 11 starts in the Premier League, 29, 11 starts, 18 top appearances, 4 goals, 4 assists. Second season, 25 starts, 5 goals, 4 assists. Pretty mid, right? 0506, 24 starts, 33 appearances, 9 goals, 8 assists, right? Now, from the 2006, 07, 07, 08, 08, 09, right? 08, 06, 07, 17 goals, 8 assists, 07, 08, 31 goals, 8 assists, 09, 08, 09, 18 goals, 6 assists, right? Now, this is my argument, right?
I am picking the team. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, can you hear you?
I'm picking my own team solely based on again when we did the Ronaldo, when we did the Henry Suarez thing. I'm picking a team purely based on ability and what we saw. You get, not on stats. I don't know that I can pick a team that will not have Alan Shearer. One, that's the player that won the league with Blackburn, right? Blackburn, right? Up top. And I would have loved to pick Rooney. But I think that as a striker, there is nothing that Rooney could have given you that Alan Shearer will not give you at the time. So I pick Alan Shearer. On the left, I have to go with Henry. Because the thing I saw Henry do.
Debatable.
No, the thing I saw Henry do, right, in the Arsenal shirt, the impact of Henry across Africa, the global exports of Arsenal is Henry. Do you understand? Right? Obviously, there's Papillo as well in Nigeria, but I can't, in good conscience, leave out Henry from the team. But I cannot also, in good conscience, put Mo Salah ahead of Ronaldo. You know why? When you think about Cristiano Ronaldo, a lot of people still, this is very key. A lot of people talk about the Real Madrid days. A lot of people actually remember Ronaldo more. Like, a lot of people's introduction to Ronaldo's greatness was from the Premier League time, right? Was from the Premier League time. That is when you remember Ronaldo playing with Ruud van Nistelrooy. Even as an 18-year-old, you could tell that this thing was special. Forget, we do football on stats now. So I don't want to talk about, so when you guys talk about stats in the beginning, it's almost like a revising of history. Because at the time, stats were not, all in all, right? When you watch Ronaldo as an 18-year-old in the Premier League, we all just feel like this boy, now be the icing for Premier League. You knew it. You knew he was the next thing. The way his boots were, the way he was, gliding past people, what he was doing to Ashley Cole. So I cannot, in good conscience, in 2026, right? Because we're now in the stats era, judge a player. It's like I go back and pick Zinedine Zidane back from the old era, and I bring out the stats. He will fail on all metrics. But you knew that when you watch Champions League,
when it comes to Zidane, please keep your useless start to yourself. Now football, where we watch with our eyes. When passing the whole ball like this, when passing the whole ball like this, they dribble Brazil for World Cup quarterfinal 2006. I don't forget.
I don't know that either Eden Hazard or Mo Salah on the eye test when I watch Ronaldo in the Premier League. Eden Hazard probably comes close in terms of, this guy is a deadly player. Salah was very, very much a goal hunter. This one just wants to go house. And he had an assist too. Assists are great. But for real, I don't think anybody in good conscience that watched Ronaldo can take out Ronaldo from that team.
Let me say this, Yubi. Let me say this, Yubi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's a see. I'll just tell you what it is. It's a very silly argument. I've waited to see. You can say, "Oh, this is my front three, and this is my front three," but I've waited to see any logical argument that stands the test of any logical inquiry into it. I haven't seen it. Like I've said, you went with eye test to pick Hazard. The numbers didn't matter then. Because if we're talking numbers, Hazard doesn't come close to anybody. I love that. I love Hazard to death. He's a Chelsea player. Big. But if we're talking numbers alone, and you know that, Hazard doesn't come close to anybody. Possibly doesn't make top 20. If we're talking number. You know. So now you have gone with Hazard. Oh, eye test. That's why I picked Hazard. But on the other side, let's remove that eye test. Now it is now numbers. And I'll tell you why you know. I'll tell you, Ini, you're not going to continue. Ini, you're not going to continue doing this thing. You're not going to continue doing this thing. Keep quiet, please. Keep quiet. And for you to know that is a thing You saw the Sky Sports whatever Carragher, Henry, and what's the name of the presenter again? They themselves did a metric. They said this is what we're using, and that's the thing again. If you're having all these arguments, on what basis is the argument? Are we picking the better players, or are we picking the greater players? Are we going the greatest front three, or we're saying the better players? So they themselves created a metric to say the greatest Premier League forward and said this is the basis we're using to pick, and then put it into the computer. And the computer came back and said Ronaldo is the greatest Premier League forward. What did they do? Carragher came and said no. Salah has a greater. That's how. See, that's what I'm saying. That's how you know that these people, but they don't. You know what? See, now on sit down, pick on a message to pick the greatest Premier League forward. Now like this, these are the metrics we'll use. And he's making an argument and saying because Ronaldo started, he didn't start really well. He came in as an 18-year-old. His numbers isn't. You see, you people are wicked, and I'm here to tell you. You people are wicked, and I'm here to tell you. In case nobody would, you are wicked. That's what you are. It is important to point it out. You are wicked. Because let me tell you something. This same Hazard that you have picked, Hazard was a bomb the moment he came in. When Ronaldo played in the Premier League, Ronaldo transcended what we had seen up until that point. In fact, up until that point, it was almost, you couldn't think about somebody scoring 40-something goals in the season in the Premier League. Ronaldo did it. And that's why, at the time, nobody had won the Ballon d'Or playing in the Premier League, and he won it. So, are we picking greatest forwards? It does not matter if they've done it for 2-3 seasons. Your guy that has done it in 8 seasons. If we're saying great, he has been there 8 seasons. If we really bring out, okay, what has he done? This is the number of goals. This is the number of titles. This is the number of individual titles. Is he really greater than Ronaldo? That's the conversation. Let me finish. Let me finish.
You are talking too much.
Let him go. Let him
no, I'm not going to allow him. He didn't allow me finish he went twice. You are going to allow me to finish what I'm saying.
Continue.
You can't go, it's because Salah he scored this number of goals. It's because he did this. That's why you're going to. Well, you're contradicting yourself. If we're going with who's the better player, you're definitely not going to pick Salah over Ronaldo.
How now?
If we're going with who's the greater player, the one thing you want to use as Salah is he scored more goals, but that doesn't even give him the edge as the greater because he lacks in some other areas. Did he win more trophies than Ronaldo? Did he win the Ballon d'Or? So it doesn't make sense.
Okay, Rufai. Let me give you my final argument. If we're talking about the greater player, there's no conversation there. There's clearly no conversation there. Ronaldo is obviously the greater player. But we're talking about Premier League front three. We're talking about, because you cannot, you talked about, I use eye test with Hazard, and when he gets to Salah, I'm using numbers. I'm not just using numbers. I talked about longevity, in the league. When you talk about the greatest goal scorer in the league, the greatest goal scorer in the league is Alan Shearer. Is Alan Shearer. But in my opinion, there are 1 or 2, 3 strikers I put above Alan Shearer if I want to talk about, individual ability. That I wanted to, I put, Yubi was saying that, there's something, when he comes as a striker, there's something, there's nothing Rooney could give it Alan Shearer. I don't agree. I think that Alan Shearer was brilliant. It was his hold-up play was fantastic. He didn't have so much pace. His hold-up play was fantastic. His left foot, his right foot was demonic. He could score his headers. He could do. Alan Shearer could even score with his bomb. He knew his way to go. He could definitely score. But the variety Rooney will offer you as a center forward, the variety a Harry Kane will offer you as a center forward, a variety Henry will offer you as a center forward. Alan Shearer didn't quite have that. He didn't have so much of, those three players I just mentioned. The only argument I'm making, I'm not saying Salah is greater than Ronaldo. I would be mad to say that. I'm saying that in terms of Premier League history, Ronaldo didn't stay in the league long enough to have the kind of impact that we know he could have had if he stayed in the league. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about just Salah numbers. I'm saying from the top of your head, Ronaldo had in 6 seasons in the Premier League. How many of those seasons did Ronaldo was in the conversation for best player of the season? How many of those seasons? That's what I'm saying. But with Salah stayed in the league for, is it 8 years? I can guarantee you that 5 or 6 of those 8 years, Salah is in the conversation for PFA Player of the Year season in, season out. He's won 3 or 4 of them. That's what I'm saying. He's had more impactful seasons because he stayed in the league longer. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about just numbers. I'm saying Ronaldo stayed in the league for 6 years. He won the PFA Player, I think, once or twice. Once, maybe. In those 6 seasons, how many of those 6 seasons did Ronaldo have, was in the conversation for, the best player this season? Salah stayed in the league for 6 years or for 8 years. 6 of those 8 years, Salah's been in the conversation for best player of the season. Or 6 of those 8 years. That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to by the way. So quick question. Hazard stayed in the league for 7 years. How many seasons was he in the conversation, or did he win the PFA Player of the Year? How many seasons did he score up to 14 or even up to 12 Premier League goals?
Okay.
How many of those seasons?
I knew it was going to come to that. Hazard scored 9 goals in his first Premier League season, scored 14 and 14 in his next 2 Premier League seasons. Scored 14 in the second season, scored 14 in his third season. In his fourth season, he scored 4 goals. In his fifth season, he scored 16, 12, 16. Those are Eden Hazard's numbers. And the funny thing
how many
is
of those seasons? And how many of those seasons was in the conversation for PFA? And how many did he win?
Hazard won just one PFA. Just one PFA.
Okay,
exactly. I'm using that to
the kind of season Hazard had, the impact he had. Obviously, the seasons where Chelsea were, at the top of the pile, they were challenging for things, where Hazard was at the forefront of every good thing Chelsea did for as long as he stayed at the club. That's what I'm saying. The impact he had at the club, I'm not saying win the PFA. I'm saying you are in the conversation. You are in the top 3. That's what I'm saying. So I just feel like Mo Salah stayed in the league long enough to have more impact than Ronaldo had in the Premier League. Ronaldo had impact in the Premier League for 2-3 seasons. And those 2-3 seasons were absolutely monumental. They are unforgettable. You talked about scoring 40 goals in a season. I mean, nobody ever thought a player could do that. Henry did it, but it was a long while ago before Ronaldo came back and did it. So it was just that basis that I said I would put Salah. I cannot. That's why I mentioned numbers. I cannot ignore those numbers because he stayed longer. That's all. I don't go talk again.
Right.
Because I'll give my own final thoughts now.
Right.
Oh, God, you need to too more.
It's very simple. Stay. If you are going to Oshodi, go to Oshodi, so that if they want to send thunder to you, they'll know where to locate you. Don't be doing, okay, you have gone with this person because he has stayed long. Because if you're comparing 2 players for a particular position, you go through a list. Oh, what titles did they win? Individual titles, old goals, all this, all that. You go through a list. What I'm telling you is that your list is too wishy-washy. This guy has this one here, you pick him. This guy doesn't have the same thing this one has, you still pick him over the person that has what this guy that you picked here has. It's too wishy-washy. That's what I'm telling you. It's either you are staying with, this guy has stayed longer. On the eye test, he had so much impact. Every single game, he was the guy that was winning the games for his teams, even if he doesn't score, even if he doesn't have. It's either you stay with the eye test. Or if you're not going to stay with goals as your impact, stay with it. Because if you go through that list, individual awards. Ballon d'Or trumps everything. Ronaldo won it in the Premier League. Now that same Premier League you win now.
One season, he won it in one season.
Now 2 seasons they will take him 1 season Ballon d'Or before.
How many seasons did they give us Ballon d'Or?
Do you understand?
No, what? So I'm saying that he won it in one season.
That's the same way he won it. That's the same way. Make I finish now. Oh my God, senior man. Oh,
unbelievable seasons. And you have been going back to mention, he won the Ballon d'Or.
You don't say you don't mention you don't talk your final talk. Leave him now. Leave him. You don't talk your final. Leave him.
Let me come in here. Let me come in here and let's end it here. Yeah, because we've run 70 minutes and now 20 minutes. So let's wrap it up here. By the way, right, when we record in the studio next week by God's grace, we have to figure out who's the better player. Because I've heard it for a long time and we've touched it a little bit. But you gotta say, you think they paint Hazard well, you get. So Hazard don't really come put that up, you get. Him and Neymar, you get. And really started on
throwing. You know why those tactical military units they go into somewhere, they go first throwing that flashbang. Boom.
When the first throw in, Hazard say, this is an opportunity. He said, he wasn't better than me. When he comes fuck up, they say, now only Messi better pass up. Now when he comes fuck up,
when it comes to playing real football, not just scoring goals, real football.
So next week, right, we need to figure out, right, who is the better player between Hazard and Neymar. Because I know who I pick. I know my preference. But let's go and make an argument and bring it so that we can decide that day who the better player is, right? That's our show. Gentlemen, I want to thank you very much indeed, right, Ini? Thank you so much for making it. Thank you, IBK. Yeah, go for it.
And they don't go watch a Kaga, they talk all the nonsense. They don't put they say, no human being selector, I'm not computer selector. Because when I go always what you are all
there's some people that when I see anything they have to say, I scroll up.
Do you know how
when I see
Jenny O'Hara,
Jason Conde.
Jason Conde.
Those guys are every character.
No, Jason Conde. I know. I like Jason Conde. He's very chill.
Martin Keown.
No. Martin Keown. See, Martin Keown is earning his money. You say Martin Keown is earning his money. He talks a lot of nonsense, and he's very biased. And I understand why he's biased. He's earning his money. He's an ambassador with the club. The club they fly out money draws. They go to fly out business class. Go put them for 5-star hotel.
Let me just.
They talk nonsense.
You don't know how happy. You don't know how happy Arsenal fans. Number one of them that Ronaldo, that 2009, he left Man U.
Bro,
you don't know how
destroyed you. See, I know what you do.
No, you would have. You would have. No, I know. You would have. Honestly, you would have. You would have utterly destroyed the league.
But that number 11. Now Ronaldo get an actually, but you can say I don't think I want share for this list for Henry. You get so you come on Ronaldo at once.
Yeah,
you get.
As it don't be now. That thing where Arsenal fans they insult me. When I talk I don't go big drug bar.
People,
obviously that one now go start that one very clearly.
No, wait, Rufai. People have preferences.
I don't talk to be your preference.
No. People have preferences, and I'm telling you, who would I rather watch? And I'm just talking on just pure ability to maneuver the ball as a winger. Do you think I watch Ronaldo over Hazard? No, I won't. I'm sorry, and it's my opinion. In terms of just, I'm not talking impact in winning football matches or scoring goals. I'm just talking on
I'm sorry.
Pure ability. Ability on the football to maneuver the
I'm sorry.
hold people off. just
I'm
make
sorry,
him
I'm talking
look on the eye.
nonsense. If
Get
that's your
past people.
if that's your argument,
Get
though,
past people.
it's nonsense.
Okay, no, wahala, but that is
You know what?
me
You know
now.
what I've realized, Yubi. You know what I've realized. Yubi, you know what I've realized.
Which one out of this? Hey.
Yubi, you know what I've realized there. You know what I've
Watch who
realized.
you won't watch. Nah.
You know
Me,
what
I
I've
say I won't
realized.
watch.
I don't have a I don't have a problem with. That's why I said when I started talking, I said, if you come and say, oh, this is my lead, this is my preference, no problem.
But I'm saying that Hazard is my
relax
preference.
yourself. Oh God. But you try and make, but you want pass. Oh, this is the logical argument for why this is my. That's where I mount my roadblock. That's where I mount my roadblock. You see,
is it that? Is it
I
that
don't have people have an image of Ronaldo. When they remember Ronaldo, they remember those goals. They remember. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a problem. But I promise you, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that Hazard could do. And I promise you, or I swear, you have no idea how much I love Hazard. But let's forget bias. There is nothing that Hazard could do that Ronaldo didn't do times 3 of it. Nothing.
Okay,
I don't know that. I don't know. See, I watched Hazard and I thought this guy was. I wanted to go to Man U. If you remember, I was not supposed to go to Man U. It was Ferguson that said he wasn't going to pay the agent money, right? But honestly, I think Ronaldo is aside charisma, I don't know player what if you do with him Ronaldo if you do for win. Aside charisma, you get. Are you telling me that Hazard play ball pass charisma?
He play ball pass him.
Oh,
that he play ball. Please, don't do that, please. Charisma, skillful player. You knew how to do all that.
Now you talk say just off of what you can do with the football. Now you talk now you carry and go there. Now you carry and go there. Say just what you can do with the football. Hazard was a purposeful. See, the reason I've always picked Hazard over someone like Neymar, for example. Hazard wasn't just let me just dribble. Hazard could dribble, but very purposeful. He was no. Hazard was a purposeful dribbler. He would annihilate everything and give you the 3 points. He was like that.
Charisma, that is what charisma could not do. That thing you just said.
Now you carry and go say just what you can do with the football now.
You just said
because you see now I don't hoodwink you again. Because now I don't hoodwink you again. If it's just about being a purposeful, if it's just about being a purposeful dribbler and being a purposeful, there's nothing Hazard did that Ronaldo did not do times 3.
Wait till be that the way you be talking that year. He say I don't come on stone under your leg.
I don't come on the stone under your leg. Because now you don't come say yes, that's what charisma didn't do. No, but that's what Ronaldo did times 3 of. Ronaldo would pick the ball everywhere and say, you know what? Has Hazard ever done it? Went into a Champions League knockout game. Madrid lost 3-0 in the first leg. And Ronaldo did it again. Not just in Madrid, did it again in Juventus. Went to the second leg, said, don't worry. It's on. Scored 3 goals. 3-3. You're telling me purpose.
Make we never start that kind of talk. Anyway, let's leave it there. Next week, bring your strong arguments, right? Neymar, Hazard, who was the better player, right?
All right,
just
gentlemen,
football. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.
Okay, take care, guys.
Yeah.